Like so many women forced to choose between survival and silence, she entered the world of escorting. But this wasn't the glamorous world many imagine. It was messy, isolating, and dangerous. Maria Denisa Paun Adas was not a headline. She wasn't a body in a suitcase. She was a daughter, a friend, a woman trying to survive in a world that often gives women like her no safety net, and even fewer second chances. Born in Romania in the early 1990s, Denisa grew up in a modest town just outside Bucharest. Her upbringing, according to those who knew her, was ordinary, simple, yet filled with dreams. She loved dancing. She loved makeup. She once dreamed of becoming a makeup artist, even talked about opening a small studio someday. Her family, especially her mother, was her rock. They didn't have much, but Denisa had resilience. Unlike many young women from working-class Romanian backgrounds, she made the decision so many others had before her, to leave home in search of better opportunities in Western Europe. She arrived in Rome in her mid to late 20s, optimistic, determined, and entirely alone. But reality was harsh. Without stable papers or support, Denisa found herself struggling to make ends meet. Odd jobs came and went, bills didn't. Denisa worked mostly through online platforms, keeping her circle small. She didn't advertise publicly. She met clients, selectively screened them via chat apps. Sometimes they were wealthy businessmen, other times just lonely men looking for company. She was careful, but not careful enough. Her lifestyle required constant calculation: where to go, how to get there, who to trust. She never told her family the full truth. To her mother, she said she worked as a translator for foreign clients in Rome. But close friends say she was getting tired of pretending, tired of being alone, tired of clients who lied, refused to pay, or made threats. In the days before her death, Denisa reportedly told one friend that she was scared. She had been arguing with a client, a married man, Romanian. He owed her money and was refusing to pay. She sent a voice note that night. In it, her voice cracked slightly. She said, "If he doesn't pay me, I'll tell his wife. He can't treat me like trash." That man was Vasile Frumuzache. Denisa didn't know it, but those words would seal her fate. What started as a service became a threat. What should have ended in a payment ended in murder. Vasile Frumuzache was a 32-year-old Romanian national living in Italy. He worked as a security guard and was married with 2 children. People who knew him described Vasile as a reserved man who kept mostly to himself, avoiding unnecessary attention. Despite his quiet demeanor, investigations would later reveal a darker side. And as the night of May the 15th approached, Denisa packed her small overnight bag and boarded a train to Prato, just outside Florence. She messaged a friend before leaving, "I'll be back tomorrow. It's a quick job." But she never came back. Her mother reported her missing. She couldn't reach her daughter. Denisa always called back, but not this time. For days there was silence, then rumors, then headlines. The suitcase, the farmhouse, the confession. Maria Denisa Paun Adas was more than a tragedy. She was a woman who tried to live freely in a world that punished her for it. Her story deserves more than a news article. It deserves to be told completely. Because behind the suitcase, behind the headline, was a life. And a life should never end this way. On May the 14th, 30-year-old Maria Denisa Paun Adas traveled from Rome to Prato, a quiet town in Tuscany, Italy. It was a trip she'd made for work, a private escort session arranged with a client she'd dealt with before. 32-year-old Vasile Frumuzache, a Romanian security guard living in Italy. They had reportedly met on a previous occasion, but this time there was conflict. Denisa claimed he hadn't paid her for her last service. She wanted compensation, or she would inform his wife. According to later police reports, she had threatened to expose their relationship if he didn't pay what she said she was owed, reportedly demanding as much as 10,000 euros in exchange for her silence. She arrived in Prato with no indication of distress. CCTV footage shows her walking calmly through the city center. She was last seen entering an apartment building, where Vasile had temporarily rented a flat. Inside that apartment, the encounter turned violent. Vasile would later confess that the argument escalated. He claimed Denisa shouted at him, insulted him, and continued threatening to ruin his marriage. In what investigators believe was a calculated and premeditated act, he attacked her. According to forensic evidence and Vasile's own confession, he strangled her to death. But the violence did not end there. In a gruesome attempt to conceal his crime, Vasile decapitated Denisa's body, reportedly using tools found at the property. He then burned her head with gasoline, attempting to destroy identifying features. Denisa's headless body was stuffed into a large suitcase, which he later transported by car to a dilapidated rural farmhouse outside Montecatini Terme, about an hour away. The suitcase was hidden behind rubble and debris left to rot in the remote building. Her severed, burned head was hidden separately nearby. For 2 full days, Denisa's mother, friends, and colleagues tried to reach her. Calls went unanswered. Her phone had gone silent. Authorities launched a missing persons report after a friend in Rome raised concerns. Investigators began tracing her last known movements. Surveillance footage, mobile data, and phone records eventually pointed to Prado and to Vasile. During questioning, he initially denied everything, but faced with growing evidence, including text exchanges and CCTV, he confessed. He led officers to the rural building where the suitcase was discovered on June the 4th. Inside was Denisa's mutilated body. Her head was found nearby, severely burned but still partially intact. DNA tests confirmed her identity. The brutality of the murder shocked both local communities and Romanian media outlets. What initially appeared to be a missing person case had become a gruesome homicide involving strangulation, decapitation, and arson. Authorities believe Vasile's motive was fear of exposure, of losing his family and job if Denisa followed through on her threats. But the steps he took afterward revealed a disturbing level of intent, not just to kill but to erase. Forensics teams recovered enough evidence to build a strong case. Vasile was arrested and charged with premeditated murder, destruction and concealment of a corpse, and obstruction of justice. Denisa's death, though first reported quietly, quickly made headlines across Europe as the details emerged. She had traveled for a job expecting a short appointment, and to Montecatini. Instead, she was met with a level of violence that spoke not only to rage but to desperation. Prior to the murder of Maria Denisa Paun, little was known about Vasile's personal life or any violent tendencies. However, following his arrest and subsequent interrogation, a disturbing truth came to light. Vasile confessed not only to the murder of Denisa but also admitted to killing another woman, reportedly another escort, in an incident that had remained unsolved until then. The second victim, whose identity authorities have kept confidential pending ongoing investigations, was killed under similar circumstances. Like Denisa, she was strangled, and her body was disposed of with attempts to conceal evidence. This revelation shocked both Italian and Romanian authorities, transforming the case from a single homicide to a suspected serial killing. Experts believe that Vasile's motives might have stemmed from fear of exposure and blackmail. In both cases, there were indications that the victims threatened to reveal details of their relationships with him to his family and employer. Following his arrest, Vasile's confessions were corroborated by forensic evidence and witness testimonies. Police discovered items in his residence and vehicle linking him to both crimes. Apparently, Vasile faces multiple charges including premeditated murder, concealment of a corpse, and other related offenses. The full extent of his crimes remains under investigation as authorities work to uncover whether more victims exist. The investigation into Maria Denisa Adas' disappearance began soon after friends and family reported her missing when she failed to respond to calls and messages. Italian police quickly pieced together her last known movements using CC footage, phone records, and witness statements. These early leads showed Denisa traveling from Rome to Prado and entering the apartment rented by Vasile Frumuzache. Authorities focused on Vasile as a person of interest given his known connection to Denisa and the suspicious circumstances surrounding her disappearance. Initial interviews with Vasile raised red flags. He gave inconsistent accounts about his interactions with Denisa. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a history of undisclosed conflicts between the two, primarily over unpaid payments and alleged threats to expose their relationship to his family. Forensics teams conducted thorough searches of the apartment, where they found physical evidence linking Vasile to the crime scene. This included traces of blood, signs of a violent struggle, and items used to restrain Denisa. After intense questioning, Vasile confessed to the murder, providing detailed information about the crime that only the perpetrator could know. He admitted to strangling Denisa during an argument, decapitating her body, and attempting to destroy evidence by burning her head. Further investigation revealed that Vasile had also confessed to a second murder involving another escort, leading authorities to reopen cold cases and review unsolved disappearances in the region. Law enforcement agencies from Italy and Romania coordinated their efforts, sharing information and forensic data. The case drew media attention across both countries due to the grisly details and the possibility of a serial offender. Currently, the investigation continues as authorities seek to establish the full scope of Vasile's crimes and determine if there are additional victims. As of now, the case against Vasile Frumuzache remains open and ongoing. He is still in custody but has not yet been sentenced. Legal proceedings continue as authorities work to fully understand the scope of his crimes. Details surrounding the second murder, the other escort Vasile confessed to killing, remain confidential as the investigation is active. Authorities have not released full information to the public, pending further inquiry. The case has also sparked varied reactions online and in public discourse. Many have condemned Vasile's actions and expressed sympathy for the victims and their families. Unfortunately, some voices have unfairly blamed or judged Maria Denisa Paun based solely on her profession as an escort. This kind of victim blaming ignores the fact that no one deserves violence or murder regardless of their line of work. It is important to remember that every life has value and that justice must be sought without bias or stigma. Thank you for watching this detailed look into the tragic case of Maria Denisa Paun and the ongoing investigation into Vasile Frumuzache. This story reminds us of the complexities involved in cases of violence against vulnerable individuals and highlights the importance of approaching such topics with respect and fairness. If you found this documentary informative, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell to stay updated on more true crime stories. Feel free to share your thought on perspectives in the comments below. And remember, behind every case is a human story deserving of dignity. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.